All right, instead of the usual cheesy opening I like to do for a lot of my videos, I'm actually going to cover this particular topic real quick before we get into the main topic of the video today. And that is these two. Yes, I know, lots of people love to use them in World Tournament. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. They are great options for stunning. They make it go faster. I personally don't like using them. Just because I don't like using them doesn't mean they're bad, though, or that you're not supposed to use them or anything like that, okay? I just prefer to use the items, and I honestly just bobble them half the time I get the random SRs like that, because that's not what I focus on for this personally in the game. So, again, it is okay to use the two stunners. I personally don't use them. Just my personal opinion, okay? I know people do, some people don't. We all on the same side? Okay, good. What's going on, everyone? TallenV back here, and today we are going to be going over a new guide for the World Tournament. Getting a lot of questions about this upcoming World Tournament on JP, because I know global, you guys just had your World Tournament a couple weeks ago, and then now on JP we're getting one, because we get one about once a month, give or take. So, and one last thing I wanted to just quickly add from that intro that I talked about with the whole using the Jacko and stuff like that for stunners. The reason I prefer to go about with items is because they're items. They're meant to be used. I have plenty of Ushers and Ox Kings and all that stuff, items that I have just from buying them from the Baba Shop. You know, you get those discounts and everything, or you just randomly pop upon them. So that's what I personally prefer. Again, nothing wrong with using either one. So anyway, let's get back to this. Anyway, so a lot of people have been asking about teams on how to go about World Tournament. Is my team good enough? Is this okay? Is this particular character okay? And while I cannot go over every single character in the game and if they're good or not, it all comes down to personally what you have. I thought I'd go over some general teams that most people tend to use, give some ideas for some replacements, and just some honest opinions about, you know, if you don't have this card, is it okay to throw this in, even if they're not on said category? And I'll get into my reasons why. Again, these are just my personal opinions or my thoughts on doing the World Tournament, going both hardcore on the World Tournament for some of them back in the old days, and honestly just going for the point rewards these days, because JP especially gets way too crazy when it comes to the World Tournament. I honestly wish it was just like Global, where I could be in a certain global ranking position, fall asleep, go to sleep for like 7 or 8 hours, wake up, and not be down 20,000 spots in the global rankings. So it's honestly pretty ridiculous. So anyway, let's get into all of the stuff real quick, guys. So the first team that actually has been kind of popping up quite lately because of LR Cell is actually the Travelers to Time category, and that is using the Int Goku Black mainly as the leader. Global, you guys just got him as a leader now, and then obviously the STR, Trunks, and Maya is also a leader for that, okay? So obviously with the pro having Int Goku Black is that you're also able to bring the STR Rose. Now STR Rose, of course, allows you to give +3 key to all allies. Now, Cell does pretty well, honestly, with key and everything like that, but you can also actually bring this STR Boo. This STR Boo does help, you know, provide his own orbs and everything like that, but again, sometimes maybe you're short those 3 orbs, or you have to use some red orbs to then finally get him the super attack, and, you know, it is what it is. So the Rose can definitely help with that. Obviously, if you're on Global, Physical Goku Black is a great option. Not so much on JP because he doesn't get that +3 key. But again, Physical Goku Black is there. However, that is if you're not running the Int Goku Black, though. Okay, so if you're running the Int Goku Black, then yeah, obviously Physical Goku Black you can't really bring. But if you are, say, perhaps running the LR Trunks and Mai, because you don't have the Goku Black, then yes, Physical Goku Black on Global at least can help you out in terms of giving that +3 key to all Extreme allies, okay? Another person that actually can be pretty good in here is the Guasu and the Zamas. Now, as of right now, this is only on JP, but you know, going forward, you know, obviously Global, you're going to get this as well. So if in the future when this banner does come around, or when that card comes around and you happen to pull them and this is the team that you happen to be running, then by all means, go ahead. But yeah, otherwise, it's not a bad choice in terms of a team. Unfortunately, you only have 2 nukers, so some people will sometimes take the LR Broly or something like that, or the Physical Broly, because Physical Broly just gives himself all the key in the world that you possibly need and can kind of throw off the type disadvantage sometimes too. So that is one thing to consider. But overall, this team's really strong. They're really good. Just make sure you're not going to sell his 18 key super attack and you're still sticking to the 12 key super attack. Because again, with the boost, sometimes he can change the orbs just the right way or sometimes just the wrong way. And it forces you to be like, oh, well, now I have to get an 18 key super attack. And then you're missing out on an opportunity to nuke the entire team and win and go on to the next battle. So do keep that in mind right there, okay? Again, I'm mostly going over categories, by the way, as kind of a side note. Obviously, if you're taking more of just a normal type team, if you're taking an STR team or all physical team or int team or anything like that, that's totally okay too. Those just generally aren't run as much, I found, either just simply super or extreme types or category types, okay? If you're running a super or a type team though, like all int and all physical or something like that, then by all means, that's perfectly okay too. Just, you know, generally these do have the higher boost. They do more higher damage outputs, which then allows you to compete a little bit better at the 30 times difficulty. So that is also one reason why you might not be seeing all of the different type teams that you could technically take with you, okay? So anyway, so Time Travelers category, overall pretty decently when it comes to a World Tournament run. It will easily get you through 30 times difficulty most of the time, unless you just get unlucky with a super attack at the beginning and you forgot to use a Ghost Usher or something like that. So again, also, if you want to throw the Jacko, throw the Chaozu on there, the two that stun automatically just by entering there, that's totally okay. Boo also has a low chance to stun, or I guess technically a rare chance to stun via his super attack. So that's also something you might be able to look out on a few bit at the times, or just use a Ghost Usher, or again, use an Ox King or something like that. 50% damage reduced, so that's always something fun right there. All right, so that's one team down. Let's move on to another that a lot of people like to use, and that is, of course, taking a Movies Boss / full power physical Broly, okay? So, or, you know, basically, if you don't have the Broly, Turles, you know, because Turles is a 150% stats up to movie bosses, or extreme types up 50%. The 50% not so high, but overall still not too bad, okay? So obviously with the full power or / movie bosses or whatever part you're using in terms of the leader skill, Broly is an amazing card to take. He easily just gives himself the key that he needs automatically. You don't have to worry about giving him key or anything like that, which is really nice. The one downside to bringing the Broly, though, of course, is that a lot of people still run STR Broly, and technically, yes, when you get into the 30 times difficulty, and obviously you might run into a full STR team, or maybe a team that has a multitude of STR units, and all of a sudden they're all at the very beginning, and then you have Broly sitting there, and you're like, oh, well, this isn't going to do very much. This is going to do a lot of damage to us. This isn't going to work out well. That is where it can definitely hurt. Obviously, that's where most people would either have a stunner maybe, or they might bring, again, an Usher, an Ox King, or anything like that, or, you know, just something along those lines. So, anyway, this is one team that can definitely be used a lot. Obviously, running the LR Broly, or as a side one, you can also bring the OG STR Broly. Sometimes, by the way, guys, sometimes in this video, you might just simply see this guy, or you might see the OG Broly. They can be switched in and out. It's just simply whichever one you have. If you have both, then obviously LR Broly is the better one to go with, because he does that automatic 12-key super attack as a second attack no matter what. So that's technically double the AoE attacks depending on how you play your cards. So just keep that in mind right there, okay? So anyway, so obviously, this is personally the team I like to run the most as well. So again, physical Broly, the STR LR Broly, Turles, because again, he is just there to provide the key to all allies. It doesn't matter if they're super or not. And then he also lowers enemies' attack by 15% that are super types. So if you're going against someone who is mostly using some kind of super team or whatever the computer is doing, technically, you don't technically go against other humans at that exact same time, then that does help too. You know, that he is going to be lowering their attack, which is pretty nice, okay? Physical Golden Frieza. Now, with the Golden Friezas, it's in a weird spot, because also what I guess I haven't really mentioned yet, I was going to get into my next team, but I guess I'll mention it here now, is people like to bring a shield. You know, bringing someone like an Injinimba, a Tech Golden Frieza, an AGO Golden Frieza, bringing those guys as shields so that they can block something, and then you have your AO unit wipe the floor with the rest of the team right after that attack is always a good little option right there as well, okay? But if you maybe don't prefer to play that way and you prefer to either stun or use items or whatever the case may be, this Golden Frieza is really good for this particular team because he gives movie boss category types key +2, stats up 30%. That 30% attack and defense can help a lot, not to mention +2 keys always really nice. He shares shocking speed with the physical Broly, although again, physical Broly doesn't necessarily need it, but it is really nice to have right there, okay? Boo. Now, the evil Boo we talked about, or I guess, yeah, he's technically evil at this moment. We talked about it in the time travel category, little team there in a bit, but he also works here. He's on full powered, so again, that's why Physical Broly can work out. If you bring him under the turtle list, that is okay too, but again, that's only a 50% boost that he is getting there. So he turns into orbs into STR orbs, and then for every STR orb he obtains, he gets attack and defense up 10%, on top of the already 50% attack and defense that he has already, okay? So if you give him a few orbs, he's already at 100%, maybe 150, 200, however many orbs you're able to get, especially if you are one of those players who likes to use orb-changing items as well, which is perfectly natural. It's perfectly okay. Then, yeah, he's going to be really helpful right there. The one time I would say maybe not to use the Boo is obviously if you're going against a mostly AGL team, and maybe your Boo doesn't have many dupes, then maybe not try to get him the super attack, or, you know, try to play the board where you don't get a super attack with another AO unit or another unit or something like that that can maybe stun, seal, whatever the case may be, and then try to get him the super attack. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm just going to put you to the side so that you don't get obliterated by the AGL units because you have no dupes or anything like that, and then, you know, kind of working from there into your next AoE unit that you potentially have or not, okay? And then obviously this Vegeta here is an amazing support unit for this particular team because he gives AGL, strength, and physical types Ki +2, stats up, attack and defense up 25%, which is really, really nice. Now, obviously, he's not going to buff the Frieza, but, I mean, doesn't really matter. Or, sorry, not the Frieza. No, he does buff the Frieza. Sorry, he's not buffing... No, he's buffing everybody on this team, essentially. So, maybe if you're running something like the Intercooler is another amazing option right here that you can go ahead and use. +2 Ki to extreme types and then attack up 30%. The reason I use the Vegeta, though, is because defense can help a little bit, actually. So, that is definitely something to consider there. Again, if you want to bring Tech Golden Frieza here, if you want to, again, he's a really good shield, so that's definitely something. And then again, like I mentioned way beforehand, OG STR Broly is something that you can go ahead and consider, okay? All right, so moving on to the next team right here is going to be the Transforming Boo. Now, Transforming Boo, the reason I included this particular team is you actually do somewhat see him, at least I personally have when it comes to JP. I don't know about over on Global or if any other JP players have seen this team particularly. I don't know why, personally for me, but you do see it. But the transformation team, essentially, okay? So, obviously, you have Boo himself. He'd just be thrown off rotation. You weren't really going to use him. Again, he's there for the leader skill. But then the LR Cell. The LR Cell is in this category. So, again, he's really helpful right there with his 12 Ki super attack. He can heal you and do all that. Even if you wanted to, you could also bring in the Broly because the Broly is going to be on that team as well. I believe he's in that category. I'm going to just double check. Yeah, no, he is in the category. So, it's the exact same category. So, the Broly's in here. Usually, I know you'd technically be taking the Broly over the Boo as a leader skill because of a higher boost and everything like that. But, again, the Boo does allow the Cell to come into handy. So, maybe if you're not fighting off too many STR teams, then, hey, double the physical power, boom, you're good to go. And you can also bring the STR Rose because the STR Rose is an STR type. So, again, Boo is going to give him a 90% boost. And boom, there's, you know, Bob's your uncle, and STR Rose can help you, okay? And also, hey, Boo can help out as well. Boo is going to be showing up in a lot of these teams because he's actually really good. So, definitely something you can put right there. On a side, if you want to as well, you can bring the STR Cell. He's a little tricky to use, obviously, because he needs only 11 Ki. 10 or 12, it doesn't matter what happens, but the 11 Ki is his AoE. So maybe he's kind of like a side finisher off type of guy, then you can go ahead and bring him if you want to. By all means. But yeah, so that's definitely something to consider right there. Again, the Physical Golden Frieza, he will also link up with a lot of the movie boss characters that are in this team because they, again, kind of mix together. Again, he's not going to boost the STR Boo, but again, he will be boosting the Broly. He'll boost, the Cell's not a movie boss character, but okay, he's basically going to boost the Broly at least, okay? So he's definitely something to have right there. Physical Boo, if you want to bring him as well, he does provide a lovely little boost for all your characters, especially after his EZA, so that's really nice. And yeah, so there's also some other options that you might go through as well. Now, one thing I have not really been talking about as of right now is the fact of sealing. Now, there are obviously some characters that can seal, and sealing is nice. I would only really recommend bringing sealing units if they're also able to provide you with some attack boost or something, or some Ki or something like that. So if they are a support unit, like say maybe the free-to-play GT Cell, if he happens to be on the team that you are using, and he then also on top of that seals, and maybe if you want to, maybe if he's not getting attacked and then everyone's attacking at the very end and you want to seal somebody up just in case you know you're not going to finish them off, then go ahead, use a sealer, make sure you seal them or do that. Or if you want to, have a Baba item. Baba can seal the entire team, the entire enemy team for one turn. So that's also really nice to use too if you're more someone who likes to use items instead of doing that, okay? Again, if you want to, bring the stunners too, bring the Jacko, bring the Chaozu if you want to. Again, if you don't though, then this is kind of what I personally would go with right there. But yeah, that's also another team that you want to use. Now, one team that is definitely really used is the Pure Sans category team, okay? Whether you're bringing the AGL Vegeta or the Transformation Vegeta, the physical one, obviously they're really good because they have access to a lot of those Pure Sand units that have AoE effects, okay? Now, one unit I know a lot of people are going to ask me, why is he not on here? It's simply because I forgot to put him on here, but I know a lot of people use him, so I'm going to put him on here real quick. It is the Int Raditz, the free-to-play Int Raditz that you can go and farm up. You can make him 100%, all that fun stuff. And I guess as a side note, if you don't have him, then obviously he's a good unit. I should have him in there as well. And then obviously Int Raditz right here, okay? So Int Raditz I'm going to kind of put over here on the side. So obviously Pure Sans, again, access to a lot of good support characters, obviously the leaders right there. I even included something like this AGL Super Saiyan 2 Goku, which Global, you should be getting the Awakening at your year 4 anniversary. JP, we just got it a couple of months ago. But the reason I included him is because he's an orb changer and he heals. So maybe if you need to heal up and you're having a little trouble with your health there, he's a good option to have right there. Int Turles only if you don't have the AGL one. Again, he's a really good support unit right there. Or the Super Vegeta that I showed off at the very beginning, or any of the other kind of Vegeta support units or anything like that, you can go ahead and bring them. OG STR Broly, the LR Broly, the physical Broly, all that fun stuff. I didn't even put LR in there because, again, I was just like, whatever Broly you want to bring to suit your needs. Paragus and Broly, they are a category to Pure Sans, which is really nice with the Ki +2 and it stats up 40%. So that is definitely really nice right there in terms of helping, because remember, you don't get the effect of your friend leader skill. So that is definitely something to consider. And then obviously Raditz will benefit the most from this particular team, Pure Sans. But yeah, I guess he is technically in Goku's lineage, but I didn't really see Goku's lineage used in the last World Tournament we had about a month or two ago. So that is another option, I guess, if you want to, but Goku's lineage isn't really known for, again, having those particular AoE units or anything like that for the World Tournament, okay? But yeah, so that's definitely another Pure Sans category type team that you can go ahead and use in there. And then the last one I want to talk about, which is kind of more new, is this AGL Zombies. Now, AGL Zombies is both a Realm of Gods category and an Extreme category of 120%. So automatically, he's beating out any other Extreme type or just team, essentially, just based on that 120%. He's beating out STR Rose as a leader skill. He's beating out the LR Goku, both the Int and the 1000-day one right there. And he's beating out a lot of other units that only give 100% or 70% or 50% to extreme types. So while a lot of the good World Tournament cards are not in the Realm of Gods category, that 120% right there automatically is really good. The only other person that, now that I think about it, that's going to be on par with the AGL Zombies for that 120% is the transforming Frieza, the tech transforming Frieza. So he's another good option to have right there because he does heal you up a little bit at the beginning of every turn, but Zombies also does too, and he mitigates. And by bringing him, you can also give an extreme big boost to the STR Rose, which is really nice. And then you just throw on a bunch of other extreme type units on there. Again, the Broly, the Super Broly, and the OG Broly won't be getting as big of a boost to 150% or anything like that. But hey, if that's your only option, then by all means, go ahead and go for it. So that's really something to do right there, okay? Now, obviously, most of these teams that I've been covering have all tried to focus on having at least one AoE unit, okay? Now, you don't need an AoE unit to beat the World Tournament. Going through one round of the World Tournament, pretty much anyone can do. The AoE units simply allow us to move through it faster, especially on the JP version of the game, because it is a lot more competitive in only 2 days. Global, obviously, does the exact same for you too, because, again, it pushes you through really fast, but a lot of people also have clarified and told me over on the global side that, hey, I don't have to go this fast because I can get up to said A rank and I will pretty much stay there for the most part. So that is definitely something to consider there. Although global, you do have a 5-day, I think it's about 5-day World Tournament. Again, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but overall, that's what it is. So I guess it is kind of whatever. It's a pick your poison type of thing, I guess. Either a short tournament, but it's highly competitive, or a long tournament, but you get to keep your place. So that is something to just keep in mind right there as to why I'm mostly talking about the AoE units, okay? Again, typing teams are not bad to bring. If you want to just simply bring an extreme physical team and you have the LR cell, then boom, by all means, go ahead and do that. If you want to bring a super STR team, you can too. There's the super type STR Piccolo. I believe it's from the Metal Cooler movie. So let's see if I go no categories, if I go none, and I just simply take all these out and I go to STR. He should be in here, I believe, because global, I believe you do have him. Yeah, here he is. So this Piccolo right here, obviously you wouldn't put him on the team right here, but basically he gives himself attack and defense up 100% when you're facing 2 or more opponents. He gives himself 6+6 key and an additional attack and defense up 30%, and he attacks all types, or all enemies right there in terms of a super attack. So that's definitely really cool right there. It's something to keep in mind when it comes to this card. Does it show here? I'm just trying to make sure. Super. It does attack all. And he has a Tokidoki chance to stun. So that's actually really nice right there. So he can also get a stun off if you want to. I personally haven't seen many STR teams run. If any category, he's in the movie hero category. So you could then, the more I think about it, you could bring a movie hero category, but he'd be the only AO unit, to my knowledge, that's on that team. So again, there are so many different team possibilities and team things. I was just trying to simply cover the teams that most people use, talk about some other options that you guys might have. Notice that there are other teams that a lot of people also like to use, and then in the end, just realize that, hey, you need to build what feels right. The one thing that I'm personally not a fan of doing, and this is going to end the video basically, is I'm not a fan of taking something like the STR Rose and throwing them onto a team where he gets absolutely no boost. I know the appeal to it. He gets the +3 key to everyone else, which is supposed to help your team. And especially if you're using items, then maybe, yeah, it doesn't really matter. And what I'm saying here is just it's dumb and it doesn't really matter or anything like that. But there are times where you might get unlucky. Maybe you use the Ghost Usher last turn, you haven't been able to finish him off yet, and you get STR Rose, or you get that really bad rotation where you get 2 support units plus the STR Rose, and everyone's getting attacked, and you don't have any items left, and he does get attacked, and boom, you are wiped off, okay? I'm not trying to say that just by using the STR Rose on that team is a bad thing. I'm just not personally a fan of doing that because of those certain situations. I have been in those certain situations where I put a unit on the team that helps overall, but they don't get any boost, and then boom, I lose my streak. There's nothing worse than trying to go for that 20 win streak and getting up to like win 19, getting through the final battle, and dying because someone who doesn't have a bigger boost or a decent enough boost gets hit, and boom, you're out of the tournament. So that can be a pain in the butt. So just keep that in mind when you are making some of your teams, okay? So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments as always. What team do you use for the World Tournament? Do you go crazy for the World Tournament? Do you only do the points and all that fun stuff? Let me know exactly what teams you're doing. I even put a post on Twitter, so if you haven't seen that already, go ahead and take a snapshot and then send it to me over on Twitter and things like that. But yeah, JP, we've got the World Tournament coming up in the next couple days. It's starting on Friday at the time it's recording, so it's going to be on the 23rd, 22nd, 23rd, no, 24th, sorry, 24th of Friday of May. And yeah, it should be pretty cool. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for the video, though. Until next time, everyone, I will see you all in the next one.